Hey there, and welcome to the Care Agent channel. I'm Coach Bob Herb, and if you're watching this video right now, there's a good chance something recently knocked you down. Maybe it was a loss. Maybe it was a mistake that keeps replaying in your mind. Maybe it was criticism that cut deeper than you want to admit. Or maybe you're just in one of those seasons where nothing seems to be going right for you. You're not alone. And more importantly, this moment doesn't define you. For over 30 years, I've worked with athletes, emerging leaders, business professionals, and organizations on leadership, the mental game, and character development. In those 3 decades, I've learned one truth that never changes. Setbacks are not detours from the path. They are the path. The question is not whether you'll face setbacks. The question is, will you let them break you or will you let them build you? Today, we're diving deep into how to bounce back from any setback stronger, wiser, and more equipped to lead. This isn't just theory. This is the playbook I've used with championship teams, struggling athletes, and leaders who felt like giving up. But by the end of this video, you'll have a clear framework you can use starting today. So grab a notebook, settle in, and let's talk about turning your setbacks into your greatest comeback story. Let's start with the foundation. What exactly is a setback? A setback is any moment where reality didn't match what your expectations were. You thought you'd win, but you lost. You thought you'd succeed, but you failed. You thought you'd be further along by now, but you're not. That gap between what you expected and what actually happened, that's where setbacks live. And here's the thing that nobody tells you. Setbacks hit the emotional side first. Before your brain can process what really happened, your heart feels it. Disappointment, frustration, embarrassment, sometimes even shame. And you know what? That's completely normal. You don't fix a setback by pretending you're fine. You don't bounce back by stuffing your emotions and putting on a brave face. You start by acknowledging the truth of what you're feeling. But here's what I need you to understand. Setbacks do not define your future. They reveal your foundation currently. They test your discipline. They test your habits. They test your character. They test what you're really made of. Think of a setback like a stress test for a bridge. The bridge doesn't fail because of the test, or it reveals whether the structure was built strong enough to handle the weight. And if it wasn't, you don't tear down the whole bridge. You reinforce the weak points. The people who grow after setbacks aren't stronger because they never fall. They're actually stronger because they respond with intention instead of reacting with emotion. Let me say that again. The people who bounce back are the ones who respond with intention. They don't spiral. They don't stay stuck. They feel emotion, acknowledge the pain, and then they make a choice. They decide that this moment will not be the end of their story. In my 30 years of coaching, I've seen thousands of people respond to adversity. And honestly, I've seen two distinct paths emerge. Path one, some people allow the moment to own them. The setback becomes their identity. They start saying things like, I'm not good enough. I always mess this up. This always happens to me. The setback moves from being something that happened to them to something that defines who they are. Path two, other people decide to learn from the setback and keep moving. They treat the obstacle as information, not as condemnation. They ask better questions. They seek feedback. They adjust. They grow. Here's what separates these two groups. It's not talent. It's not luck. It's character. I've coached teams that were down late in the season, and everyone counted them out. I've worked with individuals who questioned whether they even had what it takes anymore. I've mentored leaders who felt crushing pressure from their organizations. and we're paralyzed by the fear of making another wrong move. And I've had my own setbacks too. Moments where I questioned whether I was really making a difference. Times I felt like I let people down. Seasons where I wasn't sure I had any answers. Even with this channel, I expected more subscribers by this point. But in every case, the breakthrough started with one decision. I was not going to let the setback write the final chapter. That decision changed everything. Because once you decide this moment doesn't get to define you, you take power back. You shift from being a victim of circumstance to being an architect of your comeback. Here's what I learned through all of it. When character leads, results follow. When character's weak, setbacks become permanent. And that's exactly why the CARE framework focused on character, attitude, responsibility, and enthusiasm. These aren't just feel-good motivational concepts. They're tools that give you power when life gets tough. They're the foundation that holds you up when everything else is shaking. Let me share 3 stories with you. These are real people I've worked with. I won't mention names, but their comebacks changed not just their lives, but the lives of everyone around them. I once coached a player who had the worst performance of his life in what was built up as a championship game. It was rough, really rough. Missed opportunities, critical errors, the kind of game that haunts you at night for years to come. After the loss, he sat in the dugout, head in his hands, and I could see it in his eyes. He was done. He wanted to quit. We sat there together, and instead of replaying the pain, we broke the setback into lessons. I asked him 3 questions. First, what did you learn about the importance of preparation? He said he did all he could at practices, but the more he thought about it, he realized he did nothing to prepare mentally. He never visualized anything about the game, never saw himself making plays. Then I asked him, what did you learn about pressure today? He said he felt it big time. He didn't want to make a mistake. He saw he was playing not to lose instead of playing to win like all the other games. And finally, I asked him, why do you think you felt so much pressure? He admitted he'd been carrying everyone else's expectations on his shoulders. This made him doubt his own training and ability. The look in his eyes changed right then. He decided to train differently. He prepared smarter. He worked on his mental game with the same intensity as he worked on his physical game with. The next season, he didn't just come back. He came back as a leader. And more importantly, he became someone who could help other players bounce back when they faced setbacks. The lesson? A setback is feedback if you're willing to learn from it. It becomes fuel. Story 2 for you. I work with a young teacher who was struggling to gain trust from his students. At first, he blamed everyone else. He would say, these kids just don't get it. They're not committed to learning. They don't respect my vision. After some honest reflection and some tough conversations, he realized the real issue was communication. Or more accurately, the lack of communication. He'd been talking at his classes, not with them. He'd been giving orders, not building relationships. He'd focused on results, but he'd forgotten about the people who were delivering those results. So after we talked, he made a shift. He moved from talking to listening. He started having real conversations. He asked for feedback from his class, from other teachers. He admitted he didn't have all the answers. He showed vulnerability. Within 2 months, the entire classroom culture changed. Trust went up, engagement went up, and finally, his results went up. Here's one that's more personal and honestly more common than people want to admit. There are moments in life where your identity gets shaken. Maybe you didn't get the promotion. Maybe your business failed. Maybe your relationship ended. Maybe you got cut from the team. And in that moment, you started questioning your value. You start to wonder if you have what it takes. You start to believe that maybe you're just not good enough. Here's the truth that saved me when I didn't get the job I thought I really wanted. Your value never changed. What changed is how you were seeing yourself in that moment. Your value isn't determined by your performance or your circumstances in that one moment. It's not determined by wins and losses. It's not determined by what other people think. When you reconnect your sense of purpose to something greater than the moment, when you remember why you started this journey in the first place, you bounce back with clarity and conviction. The lesson? Purpose is the fuel for resilience. When you know your why, the how becomes so much clearer. All right, now let's get practical. I want to give you a 3-step framework you can use right now, today, to start bouncing back from whatever setback you may have had. The first step is to pause. I know that's hard. When something goes wrong, every instinct in your body wants to react immediately. You want to defend yourself. You want to explain. You want to fix it right now. But here's what I've learned. Fast reactions lead to slow recovery. Thoughtful responses lead to fast growth. So pause, take a breath, and ask yourself 3 questions. First one, what exactly happened? Not what you felt, not what you think it means, just the facts of what actually occurred. Second, what am I feeling right now? Name the emotions. Disappointment, anger, fear, embarrassment. Don't judge them, just acknowledge them. And finally, ask yourself, what lesson can I learn from this? This is the most important question. Every setback contains a lesson. Your job is to find it. I want you to write these questions down, and I want you to answer them honestly. Not the answers you think you're supposed to give, the real answers. See, here's the thing. You can't fix what you won't face. Another truth bomb for you. Some won't want to hear this. You don't bounce back with motivation alone. Motivation is great. It feels good. It keeps you fired up. But motivation is an emotion, and emotions are temporary. You bounce back with daily consistency. You bounce back with habits. You bounce back with systems. So, step 2 after a setback is to rebuild the foundation. You do that through small daily actions. First, physical habits. Move your body, get sleep, eat well. Next, fix your mental habits. Feed your mind good content. Practice gratitude. Manage your self-talk. And finally, fix your relational habits. Find an accountability partner. Find a mentor. Surround yourself with people who challenge you to grow. Your habits in the dark determine your performance in the light. When nobody's watching, when you don't feel like it, when it'd be easier to skip, those are the moments that matter most. You don't need to overhaul your entire life. Start with one daily action that moves you forward. Maybe it's journaling for 10 minutes. Maybe it's reaching out to that mentor once a week. Maybe it's practicing your craft for 30 extra minutes a day. Small daily actions compound into massive results. The final step is to reconnect with your purpose. Why did you start this journey in the first place? When you face a setback, it's easy to lose sight of the bigger picture. You get tunnel vision on the pain, on the failure, on what went wrong. But purpose is what allows you to stand back up. Purpose reminds you that this moment is not the mission. The mission is bigger than any single moment ever. I want you to answer these questions. First, what impact do you want to make? Second, who are you doing this for? And third, what will you regret more, trying and failing or never trying at all? When you reconnect with your purpose, something shifts. The setback doesn't feel as heavy. The path forward becomes clearer. You remember that you're playing a long game, not a short one. Purpose turns pain into power. Don't forget that. Now, before we wrap up, I want to talk to you about why character is the foundation of every comeback. The CARE framework stands for C, character, A, attitude of gratitude, R, responsibility, and E, enthusiasm. Here's how each one helps bounce backs. Character is what keeps you grounded when everything else is shaking. It's doing the right thing even when it's hard. It's being honest with yourself about where you are and where you need to grow. Character says, I'm not perfect, but I'm committed to getting better. An attitude of gratitude shifts your perspective when you're in the middle of a setback. It's easy to focus on everything that's going wrong. Gratitude reminds you of everything that's still right. It's not toxic positivity, it's perspective. It's saying, this is hard, but I still have so much to be thankful for. Responsibility is owning your part and not blaming, not making excuses, taking ownership of what you can control and letting go of what you can't. Responsibility says, I'm not going to play the victim. I'm going to be the author of my next chapter. Enthusiasm is bringing energy to the process, not fake hype, real enthusiasm for the journey. It's choosing to show up with effort and passion, even when you don't feel like it. Enthusiasm says, I'm going to give my best to the process and trust results will follow. When you operate from these four principles, setbacks become stepping stones, not areas of stopping points. If you made it this far, I know the message hit home, and I want you to stay connected with this community. Here's what I want you to do right now. First, drop a comment below and answer this question. What's one setback you're working to bounce back from right now? What's one step you're committed to taking this week to move forward? I'm going to read through every comment that I possibly can, and I'm going to respond to as many as possible. This community is built on real growth, real support, and real encouragement. So don't hold back. Share your story. Let's build each other up. Second, if this video helped you, hit that like button. It tells YouTube to share this message with more people who need it. And third, share this video with someone who's going through a tough time right now. Send it to a teammate. Send it to a colleague. Send it to a friend who needs to hear this. Be the person who shows up for someone else. And finally, subscribe to the Care Agent channel. Hit that notification bell. Every single week, I'm dropping new content on leadership, resilience, motivation, mental toughness, and character development. This is a community of people who are committed to becoming better. They become better teammates, become better human beings. People who want to truly make a difference in this world. Let me leave you with this. Setbacks do not stop leaders. They shape them. The greatest leaders I've ever met are not ones who've never failed. They're the ones who failed, learned, got back up, and used that experience to help others do the same. You're not defined by what knocked you down. You're defined by whether you got back up or not. And I believe you'll keep getting back up. This is Coach Bob Herb. Thanks for being here. I'll see you in the next video. Now go bounce back.